Hey everyone, I'm Melanie from Streamlined Legal, where we help law firms get the most out of their practice management software. Tonight I'm talking about Microsoft, and specifically I'm talking about their different licenses for Office, and specifically Office 365. And this usually comes up, by the way, when we start talking about the different software that firms are using, and are we using Outlook, are we using Gmail, are we using Zoom, are we using Teams, are we using Calendly, are we using Bookings? Generally, we are fans at Streamline Legal of Calendly and of Zoom itself. And so that is what we typically recommend to firms. But we do work with a lot of firms that already have Teams or already have Bookings. And for those of you that aren't familiar, Bookings is a software similar to Calendly that will allow you to schedule online. And Teams, of course, does have a component of video conferencing just like Zoom does. And so we do talk to firms about making that decision and which one they're going to use and how they're going to use it. And a lot of times the discussion will come around to the fact that, their Office 365 subscription already includes Bookings and already includes Teams. And so going out to purchase another software that does something similar like Zoom and or Calendly seems to be an additional expense, or literally is an additional expense of money. But when we start looking at how we're using the software, and when we start talking about what types of licenses they have, then it gets into a broader discussion. And so I wanted to just kind of jump into that for a second here to let everybody know that while I am not a Microsoft expert, I do know, based on their marketing, the different types of licenses that they offer. And if we take a look over here on the screen at those different licenses, what you'll see is that we do have some licenses that include things like, the products that a lot of us look for, Word and Excel and things like that. And what you'll see is that a lot of times they do include the bookings feature or the Teams as well. However, I will tell you that you can purchase licenses that do not include Teams and do not include Bookings. And specifically, if you're not using Outlook or the email that's provided through Office 365, if you're not using that, a lot of times you can get licenses that are significantly cheaper for just Word and Excel and the products that you might be using for word processing and that kind of thing. And so I want to make sure to point this out to people because I feel like sometimes we get into this idea of, well, I've already got this software, and so now this seems like an added expense. Let's go back to the software that you've already got and take a look at, the comparisons. Do we need all the stuff that's bundled in with our Microsoft Word or with our Outlook? Do we have an option to get a license that does not include these things? And so I would highly recommend, if you're thinking about these things, to talk to the person that's helping you with your IT, or call Microsoft directly if you bought directly from them, and talk to them about the different options, because there are, in addition to the options that you can find online, there are options that are not advertised online that include less products for less money that may fit your particular scheme better. And you may decide that it's worth, using maybe Google for email and calendar, using Microsoft for Word and Excel, and then using Zoom and a combination of Zoom and Calendly in order to facilitate your video conferencing. So there are a lot of options. None of them are perfect for any one particular firm. There's a lot of different things to take into consideration. But the idea behind tonight's video is keeping in mind that there are multiple different types of licenses to Microsoft, even those that are not advertised. And so I'd highly recommend that you reach out to them and talk to them about what your specific needs are and what you don't need, so that you're not overpaying for things that you're not using or that you'd rather find in some other provider. So I hope that's helpful for you tonight. Thanks so much for joining me, and have a great evening.